Welcome to another episode of Designated for Greatness. I have here former All-Pro defensive tackle for my former beloved New York Giants, Damon Snacks Harrison. Damon, how is it going, my dude?
It's going good, man. Good. Glad to finally be here, man. It's been a long time coming.
We've been trying to do this for a minute, and again, we're busy, brother. I totally get it. I never get mad at somebody for being busy. That means you're being productive. Yeah. So every time you hit me up like, yo, my bad, I'm like, it's all good, man. This is kind of like how this thing goes. But I'm finally glad to sit down with you. Don't want to hold you too long. I just got a few things I want to touch over on, what I would say is a person that I have definitely grown fond of, not just because you were a Giant, but seeing how you have spoken, whether publicly or, privately in some terms, about things that matter to me, such as faith, such as, brotherhood, and just being a real good dude. Like, you promote that stuff. And that's something that's always stuck out to me, as, we follow each other on Twitter and things of that nature. To get started, you were an undrafted free agent, right? So for you to go from undrafted free agent to the Jets to being an all-pro defensive tackle, this podcast is named Designated for Greatness. What does that mean to you? If you hear that you were designed to be great, how do you think that manifests in Snacks' life?
Well, first and foremost, man, I have a praying mother. I come from a praying family. So everything that I have, everything that I've done, it was already spoken over me, at a very young age, and continued to be spoken over me, throughout my career and up until the point, I got to the NFL. So I already knew that I was destined for greatness. I just had to, put it forth, like put forth the effort, figure out what it is exactly I want to do and attack that, as opposed to, sitting there trying to figure out, what's life going to be like for me, waiting for something to happen. I realized early that I had to go ahead and attack it, and that's what I did.
So I couldn't have said it myself, right? Not many players make it out, of William Penn, but you did. What's the grind like? Is it like, do you feel like it's extra hard to get the attention of not just scouts, but national media, to show them what you could really do all this time?
Absolutely, at that level. Now, I'm not saying that it's the same at all, but it's kind of like you can apply it to, or it's similar to being, a black man in the industry, in the business industry or anything like that, or even being a woman in sports. You're always picked over. They tell you the level of competition you played at wasn't good enough. They don't know how you'll turn out. You didn't go against the All-Americans. You may not have the ideal height, weight, size, speed, or whatever else. But like I said, for the people who follow me for a while, they see that, I say that I have the one thing that you just couldn't measure. You couldn't measure my heart. You couldn't measure my want to, the drive and determination I had to get out of the situation I was in and get myself into a better situation. So that's something, you couldn't time that on a 40. You couldn't, tell me to bench my will and desire to be great. You couldn't tell me to do that. So I understood, but the road was definitely harder. If I had to tape against Ohio State or LSU, then I'm sure it'd turn out different. But, I didn't. So my path took that turn, and I think it was for the better.
So you lead to a very interesting point. You mentioned how, it's harder because you are at a school where not as many people are believing that what you're doing could, translate to the next level as a big school would. Now, recently, Chad Ochocinco has gone on record and said, if he was to be an athlete coming out of high school in a time like this, he would rather go to a lower school, like a mid-major or something like that, ball out there, because he feels like if you're a dog, you're going to be a dog wherever you go, instead of go sitting on a bench behind the all-pros at Alabama and the all-Americans. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, because it's not the same like it was before. Before, you needed the exposure, being on television. Well, now they have Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Amazon Video. People will find you. And it's just like he said, no matter where you go, like, they'll find you. If you're worth something, they'll find you. The only thing that's different is the amount of stuff you have on campus, the equipment, the amount of stuff and knowledge that's readily available to you
Right.
from guys who did it before you, as opposed to going to a smaller school where it may not be anybody that you can relate to that did it and may be able to help you down the same path. But it's not like it was in the past. You don't need to go to Alabama, to get that exposure. It's great if you can.
Mhm.
It is definitely a plus. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it's not. It's definitely a plus, but you don't need to do that. You can go anywhere in the country, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, they'll find you.
So the Jets, you go undrafted, right? Essentially,
Mhm.
every team decided to pass on Snacks. A lot of times, guys hold that personal. They're like, this team passed on me, but it's like whether you went in the first or second round, every team kind of, if you didn't go in the first round, every team did get a turn at you. But in your
Yeah,
case, the entire draft, and you signed with the Jets.
yeah.
You balled out with the Jets. You garnered the attention of the national media as a dominant defensive nose tackle, run
Mhm.
stopper, and your free agent year comes, and you go across the street to the New York Giants. How hard was that to leave the team that gave you a shot, Snacks?
Um, Honestly, I cried, man. I was in the building when I made the decision. I was in the Jets facility when I made the decision to sign with the Giants because I was trying to do everything I could to stay there. It was just at that time the Giants needed an answer, and Woody was trying to make a decision. I believe it was Woody. Everybody else in the building was just like, let's do it, let's go. But Woody had the final say, and I believe we couldn't get a hold of Woody that morning.
Mm.
Um, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but I believe we couldn't get a hold of Woody to get a thumbs up to go. But I was, talking to Jackie, who did the contracts at the time, and I literally I cried. I walked out of the office. I talked to Coach Bowles. I talked to his entire staff, like let them know, like literally, I made the decision as I was in the Jets facility. Um, and it was tough, man. I didn't want to leave. And actually, when I first got to the Giants, I tried to leave and tried to go back. And
Wait. What do you mean?
yeah, man, it was like 2 weeks into OTAs, and it was just too new. I'm not a guy who like change. I like stuff that's consistent. And I've been with the Jets for 4 years. The Giants was a different ball game.
Mhm.
So I went upstairs and I talked to the people there, and I was telling them like, listen, man, you can have all the money back, man. I just let me go. And the people with the Jets, they were like, listen, if it doesn't work out over there, we'll give you the same contract offer we offered you before. Like, come back, which wasn't that far off from the Giants.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Wow. So you're you walked
Yeah,
into a couple weeks of OTA. You're like, yeah, I'm kind of missing Green. I'm not
yeah.
feeling. Wow.
It was too blue, man. It was too blue. Like I was Jets through and through at that time. So to go to the Giants, man, we had just beat them in the regular season too. So it was like I'm in there and I got the New York Giants on. I'm looking at everything. I'm like, man, this is not me. I know everybody in the Jets facility. Everybody in the Jets facility love me. And still to this day, I talk to the people who were there, like the equipment guys, the security officers, the chefs, like everybody, even still with the Giants as well. But at the time at the Jets, that was family, that was
Right.
home, that was all I knew.
Right. So what eventually sold you on, just sticking it out?
I spoke with David Tyree a lot. David Tyree is one of the people I leaned on a lot in the beginning. So after talking with him, getting to know JPP, Eli, Odell, Hankins, Olivier, Jack Rabbit,
He had just signed on that summer as well. I
yeah,
remember.
yeah. So we had a pretty good group, and getting to know the defensive line coach, who's the DC now, Pat Graham,
Mhm.
building a relationship with them. I realized like, okay, maybe we can do something, and I decided to stick it out.
Wow. Well, you went on to make All Pro that
Yeah.
year. Um, Snacks, how do you look at your career at that time? Not now, but at that time, like, bro, I just
Uh,
went from undrafted to making All
yeah.
Pro on a playoff team, right? One of the best teams the Giants have had in about 4 years since the last time they made the playoffs. What
Mhm.
was that like, man?
It was surreal because I sat there and I watched a lot of guys make All Pro, and even before then, I felt like I should have been an All Pro before then, even a Pro Bowler. But to finally have it happen, man, it was just like a sigh of relief, just a big weight lifted off of my shoulders, man. That finally I'm getting the recognition I deserve, and I wanted more, and Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get more, but that was just it was an amazing feeling, just to get that on top of being on a playoff team going into the playoffs. Like we had one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Mhm.
It was a complete turnaround from the year before we got there. So to have all of that happen, at one time I just got married the year before, so my personal life and my professional life was really starting to come together.
Mm. Okay, that's awesome. That year,
Mhm.
Snacks, you guys went on to make the playoffs. You didn't win the division. You got in as a wild card.
Uh-huh.
Snacks, how did you look back at that season at the end of the season that you guys went into Green Bay, didn't play as well as you would have liked, and that season ended? Did you guys think this group was good enough to be back? Because this is your first year with
Yeah.
Rabbit and a couple other guys on that team. Did you guys feel like you guys would have been back?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can ask anybody on that team. It was something that I spoke about a lot in the offseason and going into training camp, was that we shouldn't look at what we did last year and feel like we can just show up and be as good as we were last year. I stood up in a meeting with the defensive players and I addressed it. I said, some people that's going to look at my success, Landon's success, Jack Rabbit, and Olivier's success, and be envious of that and feel like they should have got what we got, but it don't work that way. We got to come back and work harder than we did last year, because we're not going to just show up and be good again.
Mhm.
And so they asked me to go into detail. Landon was one of the people at the time, was like, what do you mean? And I explained to him, I was like, I just feel like watching us during OTAs, we think we're just going to be good again this year, and that's not going to be the case. Everybody's going to adapt to what we're doing. Um, so the only way to kind of defeat that, put our head down and continue to work. And we did not do that the next year.
Yeah. Are you done, Snacks? Are you like actually retired? Because you were in the league as recent as last year,
Yeah.
with the Hawks. Are you done, or are you just still trying to do your thing?
Um, I'm still trying to figure that out. I have an idea of what that looks like. It's just not it's just not I'm not ready to say it yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, man. My son just walked in.
It's all good, little man.
You wanna say hi?
What's up, little Snacks? Do you call him little Snacks?
DJ.
DJ, what's up, DJ? How you doing, man?
Mommy call you. Uh-oh. Yeah, so I got an idea of what's going on. I'll let you know soon.
Okay, great. I'm glad to know that one way or the other you are still considering, because again, you were in the league even in Detroit. When you got
Mhm.
traded to Detroit, you played well in Detroit. So the
Yeah.
the gas tank is not empty in terms of. Go ahead.
No, it's not. It's not at all. It's not at all. It's just like now I'm doing so much on the business side that
Okay.
I'm trying to kind of weighing the cost benefit of it all. Like, is it really worth? Even though I still want to play, like I just started watching football for the first time in my career, like on TV now. Like I don't watch football, and I'm starting to watch it. You see me yelling at the TV, like, man, he could have made this play. He could
Yeah.
have did that. So the desire is still there.
Mhm.
Um, it's just my body. I got to figure out what's going on, my body, because my body hasn't been kind to me the past 3 years. But
Yeah.
you're right. Even when I got to Detroit, um, there was a stat out. The only defensive lineman that played better than me when I got traded to Detroit was the New York Giant me.
Mhm.
So the Detroit me was number one, and the New York Giant me was number two that year.
Right.
So and that was the experience that kind of got me in the position that I am in now. I used to love the game of football, but after my time in Detroit, for a lot of different reasons, I'm not just blaming it on Detroit or everything like that, but I no longer love the game of football after my first season there.
Do you want to
Yeah.
elaborate on that, or are we just going to leave that?
Nah, it's just they had a different way of going about, running that organization. That everything that made me who I am, it kind of took that away from me. I was very
Calvin
passionate.
Johnson. Calvin Johnson is somewhere right now, co-signing so hard.
Yeah, yeah. And this again, it's not a knock on them, because the type of person I am, if I wanted to do it, I would have did it anyway.
Mhm.
But trying to follow, the guidelines and be a team player, because I've never been one to kind of buck the system. When people say, I've always followed the rules, never been in trouble on the field, never been in trouble off the field. So I wasn't trying to start that now. And, you got a Super Bowl winning coach over there. Like, this man knows something. So let's go figure this out. Like, and we had Matthew Stafford. Like, so let's try to figure it out. But after I got out of there, man, it was just I just didn't love it no more.
Understandable. Snacks, I couldn't have you on here and not touch on this, and I know you know exactly where I'm about to go. You were teammates with Odell Beckham Jr. Now, I have a few, players in the league that I know that have either played with Odell or has been around Odell, and I've been around Odell a few times myself. As we know, we have a relationship. Like everyone that I've spoken to, from whether inside the locker room or inside the Giants or organization, Cleveland, stand-up guy, everybody loves him.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about Odell Beckham Jr. that people, whether outside of the locker room or the media, just does not take very well to?
Because he's something the likes of they've never seen before. Like, we've had Deion Sanders, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, but this kid is a certified rock star. Like, he's not just an NFL superstar, he's a rock star. Like, people who don't even know the game of football know who Odell Beckham Jr. is in some way, whether it be from the hair or just know his name. Like, that's never been seen before on that level in football. You know what I mean? So for him to have so much power and so much everything, people just don't like to see it for some reason or another. Like, he's everywhere he go, he draws attention, and some of it I tell him is on him, it's his fault. But a lot of it is just they follow him so much, they just looking for something. If they follow everybody the way that they follow him, it wouldn't be an NFL. It would not be an NFL.
Right.
Like, because there's guys who are doing worse things than what he's doing, but because the cameras are not on him and people don't care, like they just don't catch it. But the guy loves the game. He cried after he lose. Like, one of the things that you lose as an NFL player once you get out of college is, in college, when you lose a game, you crying. Like, everybody's crying. Like, it hurts. You get to the NFL, like, you got to kind of build that callus, and you can't cry no more because you got to go back out there in like 6 days.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but this guy is still crying. If he didn't work his butt off the way that I seen him work, then, this would be a whole different conversation. I've been around some NFL wide receivers who don't even like to practice. This kid is at practice, blocking his butt off, running all the way down the field every single day. Like, he don't take a day off. He's not just out there putting in a day like a lot of people do. So he gains the respect of a lot of his teammates. He's never been a distraction to me. The only way that he's a distraction is to himself. Right. Like, whatever he's doing, they're reporting on what he's doing. That doesn't affect me and my job. So why would I care about what he's doing? Like, if he's kicking the net, let him kick the net. As long as he's going out there doing what he's supposed to do, I don't care. Like, the distracting is the reporters constantly asking the same thing. Yeah, it's not him. He's a good kid, come from a good home, like, got good parents, like, and he works his butt off. So I really don't see the problem. They just don't like him based on his overall popularity and who he is. That's the only reason behind it. It's no other reason why they don't like him. He talked to the media. He's very respectful. Like, I don't get it. So they just don't like him.
Yeah, you said he cut, like, I couldn't agree more about just his upbringing, and his support system is so great. I got to meet his mom over the summer at his camp. Amazing, just the most sweetest person you'll ever see. You could see how Odell, she reflects on Odell, and things like that, and how he interacts with the kids at the camp, how he interacted, with reporters there. He got a chance to sit and talk to everybody, take all the pictures. Right. And for me, the biggest thing that's always confused me is he got drafted to the Giants, New York. New York is a superstar market. Yeah. Here you have arguably the biggest star in the sport, or maybe in sports at that time. Yeah. Why, I just didn't understand why New York would want to run off something that they constantly are looking for, whether it's hoping Kevin Durant comes to the Knicks to be a part of that franchise, or hoping LeBron came in 2010. Or hoping, whoever they might want. You have one here, and you're running them out of town because of whatever reason it may be. I never understood that.
Yeah, they do that with just about every major figure they have. So, don't know why, but again, those are the people that sell stories. Those are the ones that's going to get them clicks. So I understand they're doing their job, but at the same time, there's certain levels you shouldn't go to, and there's certain lines you shouldn't cross.
Characters are
And
getting
that,
assassinated.
and for some reason, they don't understand it and they don't value it. So for a guy like myself, I come from William Penn. We didn't have any media training. I
Mhm.
never did interviews, post game, pre game, nothing like that. So I come to the NFL and I go straight to the Jets, and they're just tearing us down every chance they get. So I was so upset. I was calling people to come to New York, like to listen, man. We need to pull up on this dude, like seriously, because like man, this man talking crazy. I never experienced that before in my life, so I don't know how to handle it. Like
Yeah.
he's talking about me crazy. Like, what do you mean? Like this is my livelihood.
Right.
I never got it. I never got the training. So, but until I started being around and I started to understand what they did. I kind of distanced myself from the media, and that they played that against me, which I'm completely fine with because at the end of the day, I don't care what you write. I don't care
Right.
what your opinion is. You can't find a teammate that can say anything negative about me. You
Mhm.
can't find a coach that can say anything negative about me, except for probably what's his name, Pat Shermer.
Oh
When I
my
yeah,
God.
Pat Shermer's a different story. Like that kid, the way he played that whole thing after I asked for the trade, because that's a lot of people don't know. I asked for a
Has to
trade
be traded.
for
Yeah.
like 3 weeks before I got traded, and it wasn't until the last week where I went up there and I told him, like, listen, y'all need to get me out of here before I become a problem, and I don't want to do that. And so Pat Shermer tried to play it like, after I left, he was like, we got rid of the bad apples
I
and
remember that.
all of this stuff. And I'm just sitting there like, Coach, you sitting here saying that like you pretty much wasn't crying in your office 2 days ago begging me to stay. But you're gonna just try to play it like that in front of the team. Like, bro, that wasn't cool the way he did it. I never said anything bad about Sherman, which I
Yeah.
could have said everything in the world bad about him, but I
Right.
didn't. But the way that he did it after I left,
Yeah.
like that really ticked me off.
Mm. Why do you think? Yeah, that Pat Shermer. I mean, ever since Tom Coughlin has left, I have not been really fond of any of the coaches from Ben McAdoo, and I know you guys made the playoffs with Ben McAdoo, Pat Shermer, Joe Judge. He's fairly fresh. I don't know why the Giants hired a special teams coach to be their leader, but I think Joe Judge could coach if he has the right assistants and the right people around him, and the right GM. Dave Gettleman. I'm going to hold my tongue on Dave Gettleman. I don't trust
Um,
him farther than I can throw him at all. I don't think he has a clue or has a plan. But staring to Cleveland, why do you think it's not working in Cleveland for Odell? Is it Baker? I think it's Baker, but you don't have to say it.
it's no, I don't care.
Okay.
I just think because if you watch him, Odell's open a lot.
Oh my God.
Like he's and it's always been that way. He's open a lot, but for whatever reason, he don't get the looks, whether it be, you know, mixed coverages or they, kind of scaring the quarterback away from staying there. But if you take Odell Beckham Jr. and you place him in Tampa,
Mercy.
or you place him
Green Bay.
somewhere like a Green Bay or a Buffalo, now you're talking about once again one of the top three wide receivers in football.
Mm-hmm.
Because those quarterbacks, and it's not a knock on Baker, and if they take it as a knock, I really don't care. But those quarterbacks are going to make sure that their number one wide receiver gets the ball,
Right.
period.
Right.
There will not be games where Devontae Adams is going under certain. No, they're getting him the ball. The same thing that was with AB
In
in
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, which was crazy to me because it's like AB getting double team and triple team.
Right.
Big Ben don't care. That's his number
Yeah.
one. We're designing something for him. In the same way for Mike Thomas down in New Orleans and D Hop down in Arizona. Like Odell is up there with all of these guys. It's just for some reason, I don't know what it is. It's just not getting the ball.
And that's what frustrates me when I debate or just have dialogue about Odell and other receivers. I'm like, yeah, Devontae Adams is absolutely a dog, but that man is getting his targets, and he has arguably the most accurate quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is getting his targets, and he has a sorcerer in Patrick Mahomes. Okay,
Absolutely.
Mike Evans has the GOAT. Okay, AB now has the GOAT with him. All of these guys, like Stephon Diggs has Josh Allen, arguably one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the game.
Yeah.
Same goes with Amari Cooper now in Dallas with Dak Prescott. oh, like Baker is, I just think the inconsistency is not helping Odell because yes, you're gonna throw him, you're gonna get him targets, but when you're missing him wide open, like those other targets become minuscule because he's not getting a chance to do what he does best, which is break open for touchdowns. That's what Odell did better than anybody in their
Give him
career.
the ball.
Give him the ball. I mean, even that year you guys made the playoffs, the Giants offense wasn't dynamic. Odell was taking a lot of slants 5 yards and taking them to the crib.
Absolutely. A lot of slants and digs. He was taking them to the house. They'll
Like,
tell you. They call him the Joker. You get a Joker the ball in between the hash and the numbers, he can make something happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So you said you started watching football again, Snacks. I'm gonna let you go in a few minutes. Who are, if you had to say today, who your Super Bowl favorites are right now? Who's playing in February in a big game?
It's kind of hard to ignore what Dallas is doing right now. Even though I'm not, I'm Giants through and through, so it's kind of hard to say Dallas, but Dallas is looking real good, man. Even in the ugly games, it's a Patriot team. They probably should have blown out, but you got to win games like that,
right?
And they did.
Is
so
Diggs
I would
MVP?
have to say that again.
Diggs the MVP,
defensive MVP,
or just MVP? Do you think what he's doing right now is going to get him some MVP votes in the entire award?
Oh yeah, definitely. He's gonna have 1 or 2 votes. I just don't think unless he can, keep that pace going, get some double-digit INTs. But I think it's more so gonna be focused on the second half of the season, if he does get those votes. But as long as Aaron Donald is out there, man,
I was gonna say,
listen, it's gonna be hard for anybody to get that award, but him.
Yeah. Okay. So you got the Cowboys in the NFC. Who do you have in the AFC coming out?
Baltimore's looking good. Buffalo is playing better. They're looking good. Oh man, hold on, that's a tough one. You can't count Kansas City out, no matter what's going on. Hold on, give me a second. Let me look at this. I like the Packers too. But no, that's AFC, NFC. I'm talking AFC, right? So Ravens, before I finish, the Rams looking good too.
You got the Cowboys over all them boys, though. The Rams, the Packers, the Bucks.
You know what? I'm gonna take that back. I will go with the Rams.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Rams in the NFC.
Okay.
And then the AFC. Oh man, the Cardinals too. God, they look good.
Undefeated.
They look good, but I'm gonna have to go with the Rams. I'm gonna go with the Rams.
Okay.
AFC. The Raiders are scary. The Ravens are scary. And the Chiefs. Those are my 3, I would say. You're killing me, man.
You don't trust them?
I don't, man. So if I had to pick a team out of the AFC, I'm gonna go Buffalo. I'm gonna go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. I think. No, never mind. Damn, hold on, man. Buffalo or the Ravens. That's my 2. I'm not picking one. Those are the 2 right there. Okay. One of those 2 are going to the Super Bowl.
I would love to see Lamar Jackson get to the Super Bowl and win one. I think that gets scrutinized way too much, and he's just he's a baller. Most winning quarterback under the age of 25. He just passed Marino. So, all right, Snacks. Before I let you walk out, give me your top 5 defensive tackles of all time.
All time?
All time.
Ooh, Aaron, I got to put AD up there.
He's
AD is up there.
Is he number 1 though?
I would have to give him number 1, depending on how you classify him, because you could classify him as a 3-4 defensive end as well, which he's been playing past few years. I got to throw Fletcher Cox in there.
Still going.
Yeah, Warren Sapp.
Okay. This is in order?
No.
Okay. So just AD's at 1, and then the rest are just kind of in the shuffle.
Yeah, AD is at 1. I gotta put my boy. Gotta put G in there, man. Gerald McCoy. I gotta put Gerald in there.
Ah, okay. So that's four.
And for me, you mean mine or just?
Just yours. Who do you think are the
And
top?
I'm gonna put Vince up there.
Go for it. The big guy.
Damn, man. Hold on. Randall. I can't forget Randall. Minnesota. I can't forget him.
Was he more D end or D tack? I know he like you said, they kind of go in and out, you know.
Yeah. I think officially he's classified as a DT.
As a DT. Okay. He's a monster. He had too much. He had
so hold on. AD, Randall,
Cox, McCoy,
Gerald McCoy. Man, I gotta see. I'm a big Vince fan, man, but oh god, see, it's crazy, man. Because some of these guys, like, what's his name? You can say the obvious names like Mean Joe Green or Cortez Kennedy out of Seattle, which I saw a lot of. But you can't really have a top five without putting Mean Joe Green in there, man. You can't really.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say we'll put Mean Joe Green in there, and Big Vince is my honorable mention.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not a shabby top five at all.
No. So what's crazy is somebody asked me the other day my top 10 nose tackles of all time. And you know, the names of people throwing out were good. And I was asking people like, how could you not put me in the top 10 nose tackles of all time? Like, explain that to me. I understand I didn't have Tom Brady, so I didn't win the Super Bowls. I didn't win the Super Bowl with Big Ben. I didn't. I get it, you know, but numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie, right.
Numbers do not. If I played at the time when they played, I'd be a Hall of Famer.
Right.
First ballot. At the time when some of these nose tackles played, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Especially with how much they ran, you had more.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So like, I was only playing like 48% of the snaps, and I'm still doing numbers.
Right.
So in a time where people saying the run wasn't as important, so how am I doing all these numbers against the run if the run wasn't that important? And you mean to tell me y'all gonna run the ball 60% of the time back then?
Right.
Man, I'd have had 300 tackles a season.
I believe it. Snacks, you are the man. I appreciate your time so much, man. This was dope getting a chance to chat with you. I can't wait to see what future endeavors you got. I definitely need a jersey. I need a Giants jersey, man.
I got you.
I rock with the Giants like that no more since they traded my dogs. But I still definitely would love a Giants jersey because I grew up with Giants my entire life. We'll do this again soon, brother. I'm looking forward to seeing what you got coming up next. If you're back in the league, back in the booth, I could definitely see that too. Looking forward to it, my brother. Let me know anything and however I can support, and I got you, bro.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. Salute.
Yes, sir.